Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pretend Problems podcast. I'm Kelsey Cook.
I'm Michael Phelps.
Ooh.
I've moved it over to Olympians.
I like
Because
it.
we're coming up on the Summer Olympics.
Yes. I watched a thing on my Delta flight today that was like an intro to a lot of the Olympians. And
Okay.
so many people in the Paralympics doing sports that are so fucking impressive. My God.
Yeah. I think all of the Olympics is impressive. What's your favorite thing about the Olympics?
Ooh. I like anything. I mean, that's why I like watching live sports. I like that everybody is stopping what they're doing around the world and watching something together.
Oh.
I like that feeling of it. How about you?
Interesting. I like the amount of attractive female athletes. Now, let me explain my answer.
Oh, boy.
Because
if you
day
are
in...
a first-time listener of the show, just know that this is so not in his character.
Day in and day out, you ladies get to watch sports, and most of the men are attractive. And a lot of the day-to-day sports guys get to watch, that's not the case. But in the Olympics, these are just people like that have normal jobs that just happen to be really fucking good at riding a 10-speed on a side hill.
Yeah.
And so...
You think they have a normal job?
Oh, yeah. Home Depot sponsors a ton of Olympians.
What?
A lot of Olympians. Well, I guess I don't know if that's true anymore, but there was one Olympics where there were a bunch of advertisements about Home Depot basically hiring the Olympians on the off season or the whatever that is, so they could, make ends meet and then still train, because these are like nobody sponsors. I mean, I guess somebody does, but not a ton of people sponsor.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like someone riding a bike.
Yeah, some of these are really obscure. Like foosball was supposed to be in the Olympics a long time ago, and most of those people have a regular job.
Oh, you mean you have to, because there's just like not enough money to be made on a lot of these circuits.
Yeah.
To do it. And again, like Kodak isn't sponsoring, whatever some arbitrary Olympic sport.
Right.
But anyways, it's about fucking time, because, we watch football together and it's like, what am I watching? The analysts? No.
Cheerleaders.
You got all you got all these like athletic men running around in tight pants with their bunzers moving in and out. And it's like, it's about fucking time we get something.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
What sport in particular do you like to check the women out in?
I don't really know. I mean, I think a lot of men watching would go to beach volleyball because that's borderline no clothing.
Yeah.
And I'm not a perv about it. I'm not sitting there like, all right, I got to put this in my spank bank. That's not what I mean. I just think it's like, it's about time to level the playing field. Because when you and I watch sports, I'm just sitting there like, Jesus Christ, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, this is why this is so funny to me that you're saying this. Because like I said at the beginning, this is so not in your character to say that that's what you're looking forward to. And it's funny that I think it's less about that you're excited to look at hot women and more like you're sick of me getting to look at hot men on sports.
Yeah.
And you just want to feel like you're getting some of it too.
I want to feel like I'm an equal.
Okay.
Which is like, this is the one time where men have to say that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you got a lot to choose from. It's the Olympics, a lot of different
Again, I'm not going to be watching it like, oh God, I sure hope those pants come off. Oh, I hope somebody wipes out with their legs in the air. I'm not going to be talking like that. I just like, it's just nice for all the ladies to know that there's competition on the screen.
What does that mean?
I don't have any idea.
I know. This whole path you decided to start down on this
know.
episode, I'm like, well,
here's the
I'm
thing.
gonna let you just run with it. But
yeah, I know.
this
You
is
always do
not-
this to me. So here's what I think. Normally when two comedians have a conversation, one of them says something absurd and then the other one just piles on for the funny of it. And then you just fucking break it down and analyze it. You put baby in a corner, answer this question, which sport do you want to watch? How old was she? All this stuff. Show me on the doll where you touched her. All of it. And it's like, it's a lot. You found his bone. I'm done.
Okay. We have to have a balance in the show. Otherwise, it's total chaos.
Yeah, I mean,
there has to be a voice of reason that goes, what the fuck are you talking about right now?
Yeah, you do feel like my chaperone. A lot of times. You feel like a chaperone on a school trip where the kids are like, oh my God, we're going to fucking hang glide off the Eiffel Tower. And you're like, kids, why would you want to do that?
I do have a playground monitor energy about me. And if you recall last episode, at one point last week, I asked Chad, are you sick of me yet? And it's sentences like the one he just said that are why I get in my head. Because I'm like, you know, what if he's just, sometimes I'm just like, maybe you don't think I'm fun enough.
That's not fair at all. I think you're very fun. I think you and I have two very different ideas about what this podcast should and could be. And so that's all.
Yeah.
You know, I come from a straight comedy podcast.
Yep.
And you come from a straight self-help podcast. There's some funny stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to say there's a little
No.
a little comedy sprinkled in.
More than a little.
Depending on the episode.
Well,
you know.
yeah, of course.
Sometimes.
But so, you know, and I was nervous. I love how this is going. Mm-hmm. I think that both of us resisting and pushing from both sides has turned this into our nice little pearl.
Yeah.
The little pressure cooker turned it into a nice little pearl.
I think so too.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about me being having playground monitor energy. Have I told you that when I was like 5, my dad would take me to, maybe younger, maybe 4, would take me to the indoor playground at the mall in Spokane, Northtown Mall. And it was this like, I mean, it's fucking absolutely like, yeah, hazmat central, perv central, just disgusting, just kids going down the slide in like shitty diapers and just lawless. But
and let's also say jobless men.
Sure.
Walking around.
Yeah.
Diddling their zippers.
Ugh. Northtown it was creepy. But there would be kids playing on the playground who were much older than me. And my dad told me that kids would try to go down the slide and then come back up it. And I would go up to kids much older than me and much bigger than me and go, you can't do that. You can't do that. That's against the rules. You have to go around and wait to use the slide like everybody else.
So for those, go ahead.
They would just be looking at me like, what the fuck? Who are you? And I'd just be tiny with like my little principal energy. Like, no, you can't do that. Fun.
So then you have that versus someone, and I don't know what the statute of limitations are on this, but that has broken into an elementary school to use their gym because they had 9-footers and also may or may not have grabbed some chocolate milk in between games to fucking replenish the electrolytes.
You know how chocolate milk has electrolytes. But yeah.
Protein. Mm-hmm. Dude, lay down.
Yeah. Chad's talking to the dog. If you're not watching on YouTube.
Yeah, so he has a bone in here, but he rips. He just like rips the flesh off of it.
Yeah.
The dried flesh.
Yeah.
And it's driving us crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it's driving you crazy.
It's usually I wouldn't.
Drives me crazy.
Usually I wouldn't care, but it's just, you know, this is a podcast. It's going into people's ears, so I don't think they love the sound of ripping bone. But
I understand that. But then you don't talk to the dog about it. You talk
got a
to
cat
me
on my
about
lap.
it. And so then I in turn have to talk to the dog. So I don't. I'm just trying not to get talked to.
You and I have talked before about how growing up, don't play each other. God damn it.
What?
Chad just put the microphone in front of Poe's mouth.
Well, because he was breathing so hard. I thought I just wanted to do it and have people go, fuck, what did Chad have to like move a little bit? And now he's out of breath. No, this dog is...
Oh, God, Poe is so cute. I don't think he's in frame right now, but my God.
He's outrageously cute.
He's outrageously cute. So Chad and I would have, I think, absolutely repelled one another in like maybe elementary school, middle school, potentially high school. Okay. Not repulsed, repelled. Like just we would be like, oh my God, not
this isn't gonna work.
Yeah, because I was playground monitor vibe.
Yep.
Honor student, like so just rule follower, and Chad was out there causing chaos.
I was in student council. I was a class president and vice president.
Yeah, but did you get voted class clown?
Yep.
Okay. So here's what's so funny. You were doing things like that. I got runner up for class clown, still being like the way I was, but I think I just yeah, but I think I was just like funny in classes that I was comfortable saying funny things in. And then the guy who got class clown was the guy who would like set his farts on fire and shit like that, where it was like the obvious choice. Yeah. So, but I got runner up class clown and runner up best smile. I didn't get first in anything in high school, but then in middle school, I talk about in my special, I got voted most likely to become a sex ed teacher.
Yeah.
Which has all sorts of problems to it.
I would love to know who got first. Bro. He's like having a stroke over here. I would love to know who got first smile.
It was a girl whose mom was a dentist.
I'd love to call her back though. I mean, so I think that smile isn't just about the teeth. In my opinion, the smile is about how it starts. Does it go up on one side first? Does it curl? Does it meet in the corner of the cheek? And then are the eyes involved? Because I've seen a smile with teeth and the eyes don't smile. And that's when you end up in a basement. Chained to a fucking radiator. Have you ever seen those people?
Yeah.
They smile and their eyes don't squint.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're staring and here's what happens, in my opinion, in those brains, where they go, oh, in this situation, I'm supposed to smile so that person knows I'm not about to steal them. Right? And so they smile with their mouth, and then their eyes don't smile. Yeah. And then I'm always looking for an exit when that happens. Also, I think we would have repelled one another, but I think there would have been one day where we started an argument, right? Mm-hmm. Like I took 2 chocolate milks at lunch because I'm a fucking bad boy. Mm-hmm. Didn't pay for one. And you were like, did you pay for that? And we'd start arguing and then cut to Eminem and Brittany Murphy fucking in the auto shop. Bro.
I would have had a crush on you for sure. In middle school, I had a crush on a couple guys who were definitely like the class
Give
clown.
me their names.
The class clown vibe. Because it was like, you're like, stop.
Yeah. These guys are going nowhere and I love it.
A project. Even at a young age.
Oh, I wonder how I could fix this one up. I don't even know about the letters yet, but I bet they have them.
I bet they're in there. Anyway.
So what's your favorite sport in the Olympics? We can wrap up the Olympics here, but what's your favorite sport to watch?
Yeah, it's funny. You referenced it earlier. I think beach volleyball.
Okay.
I think it is so electric and exciting. And when they get on those crazy rallies, I mean,
yeah, men or women,
love it. I am partial to the women because that was my sport, but men are fun to watch too.
Okay. I'm sure they fucking are.
Men are hitting it in front of the 10-foot line. It's going straight up and straight down. Yeah. And I mean, God help anybody who gets in the way of it and doesn't have a broken bone.
It is insane. And that never used to happen before they put steroids in chicken breasts. I mean, I remember walking through, having to bring something to school for Olivia when she was in middle school, just looking up at all these kids. It's like, even your fucking chicken breast, guess what? Doesn't help the brain, dum-dums. You're going to be tall and strong and stupid as shit. We're like going back to Neanderthal.
Yeah.
Very strange. My favorite, you didn't ask.
I'm sorry, I was about to ask. What is your favorite?
It goes back and forth, and it's because like I would love basketball, golf, all that stuff, but has to do with the just tiny bit of time between first, second, and third, and it is swimming and track and field. I love that shit.
A 40-yard dash.
Absolutely. Well, I don't do a 40-yard dash.
100 meters.
There we go. There we go.
I came out and I was like, nope, that's high school. Been talking about high school for too long.
40-yard dash. That's what they make football players do at the combine, so they can see their speed in the 40.
Oh, yeah. The
wondering,
universal fitness test.
Yeah. I run a 7.240. No big deal.
Well, did you know I used to have my high school's record for 40-yard dash?
I did not know that. You should also know 7.2 is super slow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Well, I guess I was just in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say thank you to everyone that came out because I know that I bitched about it on here, and Detroit came out.
They came out despite it being shut down that week, apparently, which has to be a very nice feeling.
And some people, a bunch of people actually came over from Grand Rapids, Michigan, because I wasn't doing that this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we've said it before, but it's because of this building, this big old building they call the Bob. And it's just, it's the people there are very nice. The people that run it are incredible. It's just the music, and it's too loud. So anyways.
Yeah.
So then I went over to Detroit.
Too.
People were calling for Kelsey Cook Comedy in Detroit.
What do you mean?
I think you should book it, and I think you should book it at that place.
What do you mean?
They're just coming through the line, and they're like, "Oh my God, when's she coming?" I'm like, "I don't fucking, I'm not her agent." I mean,
Detroit,
kind of
butter me up.
So there is a black couple in the front row.
Okay.
Last show of the week.
Okay.
And having a blast.
Mm-hmm.
And then they come through the merch line, and I'll be goddamned if it wasn't Darnell.
Darnell! And can I tell you guys, Chad has not told me, and his partner, with the long tongue. Chad has not told me yet any of this because he wanted to save it for the podcast, so I am just as excited as you guys are.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Nothing really happened because I didn't know it was, they didn't mention anything. I talked to them for a while, took a picture, and then they didn't tell me till they were leaving.
Oh.
But then I stopped all merch line activity.
Yeah.
And almost chased them out the door. Because I was like, what? You got it. What's happening?
Yeah.
And couldn't have been nicer.
Oh my God.
And they seemed real happy. So very stoked. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you said yes to the mess before the wedding.
Yes to the mess.
But if you didn't, or if you did, good for you. And if you didn't, I mean, you guys are obviously happy the way it is because they were both like laughing and having a great time. So.
Well, yeah, that's the way he left the last email with us is she's giving me frequent BJs and I'm ring shopping.
Yeah.
Win-win.
Yeah. Way to go, you guys.
Oh, that's so cool. I love it. Thank you to everybody who came out to my shows in Raleigh and Charlotte this week. Man, I mean, there wasn't a bad crowd. All 6 shows this week were so much fun, and we had so many Pretend Problems people come through the merch line. It was so nice to meet you guys and people who had just signed up for the Patreon.
Oh, hell yeah.
It was awesome. There was a funny merch line incident. You know, I've talked on here before about how, like, I have to kind of have some security protocols because sometimes dudes can get weird. And there was a guy who, I don't know that he's a listener to the podcast. He was nice, but he was like clearly drunk and just like not really getting the vibe of like, okay, there's like security and just there's a protocol to this. And so he came up, he's like, all right, I got a bunch of questions. Question number 1, can I hug you? And I was like, yeah, no, we can't do hugs. Like, we just got to keep you on the other side of the table. And he goes, okay. Number 2, can I get this in this size? Like one of my things of merch. I was like, yeah, no problem. And he goes, number 3, will you sign my butt cheek? And I was like, no, dude. Like the security guard's just standing there shaking his head. I just thought that was such a funny progression where it's like, can I get a hug? No. can I show you my asshole and will you put pen to it? It's like, bro, no, like this is just getting, I don't know. I told you on the phone and you're like, yeah, what's like question 3 or 4? Like, can we go like make a baby somewhere?
Yeah, it is strange to start at, hey, do you want to go get some coffee? No, thank you. Well, how about a family?
Yeah. Can I get a handy in the bathroom? It's like, what? No. So anyway, that was a funny merch line interaction, but yeah, it was great. And Patreon so far has just like kicked off with a bang. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. That's very nice.
We're like overwhelmed by how many people have already signed up. So many in the Do Your Bursters category, which means that you'll be getting a custom Pretend Problems bracelet if you stay signed up on that tier for at least 3 months. And we've seen your emails and your suggestions about like what are other things we could add to that tier to keep it exciting, maybe doing like a Discord or like a live episode once a month, something like that. But if you didn't listen to last episode's Patreon announcement, we have 3 different tiers. There's a $5, $10 and $20 tier a month, and we're putting out bonus episodes 3 times a month. Essentially, there are 2 mini bonus episodes and 1 full-length bonus episode with extra listener questions being answered. So there's just tons of fun things. It's patreon.com/pretendproblems. If you can't get enough and you want more than just the regular show a week. So yeah. Do you want to do the middle segment?
I do.
Okay. This is kind of good timing with Olympics. I thought it'd be fun to share what is the worst physical injury you've ever had. Because last week we shared what's the sickest we've ever been. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys for commenting on YouTube. Your stories, my God. You guys have seen some things.
You win.
A lot of you. That was a lot. I really appreciate you commenting. I love reading them. So tell me, what's your worst physical injury?
Well, I've broken ribs.
Ooh.
And obviously I had my femoral head cut out of my body, a metal wine stop basically pounded into my femur.
God,
my
damn it.
Pelvis grinded out, and then a cup put in there so my hip would work. However, I wasn't up for that. So I don't think that's it. So for me, my worst physical injury that I can tell you about and remember all of it is I was cruising down a hill on a bike. No hands, because I'm a BMF. And a girl that I went to school with, her name's Kim Curl. She lived at the bottom of the hill, and she came outside. I don't know what she was doing, and I just turned and I go, "Hey, Kim!" And as soon as I did, a rock hit like a rock was in the road.
Yeah.
My tire hit it and spun the handlebars, and I just flew. And probably 30% of my body was a scab. I mean, I had open wounds on every arm, shoulders, chest, face, my legs. Everything was just like covered up. And then I went home like a dip, and I put cold washcloths on all of the open things and fell asleep. And then when I woke up, all the washcloths were stuck.
Oh my God.
So my mom had to rip the washcloths off of my wounds, and they had clotted, and then they just reopened because she had to rip them off like a Band-Aid.
Oh my God.
So anyways, make sure there's like gauze that you're not, when you're doing like open wound stuff, or don't put anything on it because it will, I don't know, is it coagulation maybe that takes place? But anyways, your blood starts to clot, and then it merges with whatever's on it, and then you have to open the wound again. So that is mine. I mean, it was like,
Jesus.
I'm so lucky. I haven't had a ton of bad injuries.
Yeah.
And every injury I have had, all 100% my fault.
Yeah. Jesus, that sounds like something a Bond villain would do to James Bond.
Oh yeah.
Like just all of that. Oh. How old were you? Ish?
Probably 6th grade, I'm going to guess.
Okay. Well, this is interesting because my story is kind of similar. It involves a bike and being young. So,
Oh, no seat? Sorry.
I wait, what?
You sit down and there's no seat?
Oh,
Just
God.
impales you?
Yeah. When I was 7 or 8, we had one of those. It was like my little brother's tricycle where it had the foot pads in the back. So somebody could be pedaling, but somebody could also be like scooting on the back or standing somehow.
Probably riding, with hands on the shoulders.
Yeah, sort of a thing. And we had a babysitter at the time, and she was a ballerina, and I want to say she was like almost 6 feet tall. She was a very, very strong young girl. I mean, legs like a horse. This is all important for the story. And she was, I was sitting on the tricycle, and my like legs were dangling over the handlebars. So my feet were kind of down by the front tire. And she was scooting me with the foot pedals in the back. And then we also hit a rock, and the tricycle tipped forward, and my right foot got pinned under the tire, and all of her weight and my weight and the tricycle weight went onto that part of my foot. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I've ever screamed louder in my life. And I ended up breaking a bunch of tiny bones in my foot at once. And I still have it's like a splotchy red scar like this big on that foot where, because there's like nothing you can do when bones in your foot break. There's like you just are not supposed to put weight on it and stuff. So that was, I think mine. It was like multiple little bones breaking at once. Was pretty
Well, that sounds brutal just
horrifying.
because of the adult that was behind you.
Oh, yeah. And she felt so bad, but I mean, she just...
Doesn't count. I'm sorry, does not heal a broken foot.
Yeah. She was very heavy because of how strong she was.
Sure.
And yeah, but I'm like you, I'm pretty fortunate that despite all my years of playing sports, didn't have didn't blow my ACL out or anything like that. It was like weird little things like that.
One time I sprained my ankle. So it was like I stepped on someone's foot. I was going in the lane in basketball. I put all my weight on my foot and I stepped on their foot. And I was basically looked like I was sliding into second, but I could see the bottom of my foot. It had turned all the way over and it didn't break. So it just tore all the ligaments in my ankle. And then I'm going to tell the story very quickly.
Yeah.
But I had to ice it that night. And I was watching, I can't remember, when we invaded the Middle East, shock and awe or whatever. And I was watching all this stuff and I fell asleep. And then a couple of weeks later, it was I just couldn't even pee in the middle of the night because it was throbbing. So I'd have to put my foot on the top of the back of the tank. And I'd have to pee to have it elevated, and ended up turning black. And I went to all these emergency rooms all over the country. Nobody could figure out what it was. And then I went into this sports medicine place, and they couldn't figure out what it was. And then this guy came in to change the trash bag, and he was like, "Oh, frostbite, huh?" And I was like, "What?" So this is 7 months. This has happened. It was like 7 months ongoing. Maybe it wasn't 7 months. I might be making that up. I can't remember how long it was. But anyways, if that guy wouldn't have come in, I maybe never would have figured out what it was. And so I don't know if I would have lost my foot or what. But he came in and he knew what it was from ice fishing.
Oh my God. How did you get frostbitten?
I was icing it and fell asleep with ice on it. The first night.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
I didn't know that was possible. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but
yeah, I mean, I am so thankful that guy walked in. So that's like, sometimes people will make fun of jobs in comedy.
Yeah.
I don't ever.
Yeah.
Because I don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah.
You have some valuable information in a given situation.
Because he was like the janitor at the...
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And he came in and you know what? He should have gotten the salaries of all these fucking ER doctors around the country, because I was touring, that couldn't figure it out. I mean, so many times they gave me, what's the thing you do for the babies with the cold sauce that you put on the belly to see in there.
Oh,
ultrasound. So they would ultrasound my ankle at everywhere I went. I'm like, they've done this. What are you looking for?
Yeah.
Like, fucking do something else, please.
Whoa. Crazy.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. It's just usually you think of frostbite with being outside.
Right.
And like the conditions, but I guess you can frostbite yourself.
Oh, absolutely. You can do a lot of dumb stuff to yourself. One time I ate too much red velvet cake. Thought my asshole had a hole in it. And had to get a colonoscopy. And then afterwards, I told him red velvet cake. And he was like, oh, yeah, that's what that was. I'm like,
oh my
cool.
God. You thought you had internal bleeding?
Oh, I thought something had happened to me. I thought I sat on a bike with no seat.
Instead, it was just your birthday.
Toe up from the flow up.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I really enjoy stories like that. I could probably do a segment like that with you every episode. You've got really great stories for that.
Well, I've been around.
You've been around
For 100 years.
You've been the class clown,
It's also always in the
doing
office.
things. Oh.
But I was in the office a lot for like student council shit, but people didn't know that. Because all they do is they never go, Chad Daniels to the office for something related to student council. It's just Chad Daniels to the office, and they're like, what the fuck did you do now, dude? I don't know.
Oh my God. So funny. Okay. Should we promote some tour dates and then do some questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. This is coming out, and let me think about this. Oh my God. This comes out and your Netflix special's out.
It is. It's officially out.
Eee!
Run to your televisions and turn it on. You don't have to watch it. Just turn it on.
You do have to watch it. Please watch it.
I mean, if you like comedy, you should watch it because I think it's just fine. And
he doesn't think it's just fine. He thinks it's great because it is great, and you should watch it.
I'm rolling my eyes for people not watching on YouTube.
Watch Empty Nester on Netflix right now. Oh my God. We should have opened the episode.
No, we should.
It's just hard because we're recording it a few days in advance, and so it's like, oh my God.
Where are you going to be?
So excited. Okay. So I'm done with my summer tour dates.
Yep.
I just did the Charlotte Raleigh run. I start back up in September. I'm in Timonium/Baltimore area, and then Fort Collins. In October, I am in Omaha and Phoenix. In November, I'm in Dania Beach and Providence. And then in December, I'm in San Antonio and Austin. And you can go to kelseycook.com for tickets. How about you?
Well, in August, I'm going to go and I'm going to perform a wedding.
Yeah.
For two people that I like very much.
Chad's going to officiate.
Yep. I'm going to go down and I'm going to do that. And that's going to be real fun. I get to see part of my family that I don't get to see very often. And they are my favorites. Yeah. I really do love that part of my family so much. And then September, I'm going to be in Spokane. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be, honestly can't remember any of these, but I'm going to be in Columbus sometime. I'm going to be in Denver. I'm going to be in Madison. I'm going to be in Tampa. I'm going to be in Vegas. I'm going to be in Salt Lake City. I'm going to be some other places. But you should go to chaddaniels.com/tour to figure that out.
Hell yeah. Your Netflix special's out. I'm so excited. And you can listen to Chad on Joe Rogan's podcast right now. You can listen to him on Kill Tony by now, you think?
Mm-hmm, probably.
Your mom's house by now, you think?
I think so.
Okay. Guys. And
no. Not your mom's house, because I'll be recording it when this comes out.
Okay. But you can go listen to him on Rogan.
We'll see. I mean, what a great time to be on that podcast right after an assassination attempt on a former president. I don't watch the news, so I'm going to be fucked.
It's going to be great.
But I'm going to have a ton of fun. I mean, it's for whatever everybody thinks he is, it's basically going to be two comedians hanging out.
Yeah.
And so I love that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have not written into pretendproblemspodcast@gmail.com yet, you should, because we love listening to your questions and giving you advice when you want it. And we love your updates. So write in and let's get into some of them this week. So this is titled No Problems Here. They say,
great.
Aloha, Kelchadsi. Kelchadsi.
Oh,
That's a new one. Discovered you two on Instagram 1 month ago when a clip of the Farticket episode was delivered to me via the AI algorithm. Apparently, I watch a lot of fart videos. Well, we have a new one coming soon. I think maybe by the time this comes out, it's the farting clip from last episode that I was just like dying laughing at you.
Oh.
They say every fart let free to perform without a slight is a small tragedy. Wow, sorry, I could not get that sentence. I've since listened to every episode, and let's just say we're a throuple, and I'm no longer the silent partner. I was happy to hear you two briefly discuss being sober during the Timberlake concert and its benefits. I find it interesting that mental health, gut health, and sleep is such a common thread on the podcast, and I can't help but point out that alcohol commonly causes those things. You've both pointed out that fans drinking during your stand-up takes away from your comedy. Now name an activity alcohol truly enhances. I'm 44 and have dealt with depression, an adult ADHD diagnosis, imposter syndrome at a high-paying corporate job, failed relationships, self-hate, and sleeplessness, but in the end, I was just a high-functioning alcoholic. Once the veil was lifted, I literally met the woman of my dreams, was proposed to, and married within 3 months, and I sleep like a rock.
Damn.
We've yet to fight about anything, in case you have any suggestions to break the ice. Well, try eating the last 2 bonbons. See what happens. I think you two give great advice, but I think anyone who writes in who is having problems, it's important to, where applicable, give alcohol its credit. If you two are sober curious, I recommend reading This Naked Mind. If you're allowed to mention this and read on the podcast, is a game changer. If not, I feel it's important to remind listeners not to self-medicate with alcohol or cocaine and heroin, and that it's commonly at the root of life's issues. Mark. Feel free to say my name. Thanks for writing in, Mark. That was a really nice, thoughtful email.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I've told you this. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to read a book because I'm not a pussy.
Oh my God. Sometimes.
I love talking tough, and then I can't even get it out without laughing.
Oh my God.
I just, I think a lot of people, we've talked about this. They say there's always a reason to drink.
Yeah.
Right. You can find a reason to drink all the time, but there's a book for that that maybe you've mentioned on here. Maybe you just mentioned it to me off the air, but
yeah.
I don't know. I just think that I just feel so much better. And here's the thing. I went into a bar last night, and it's not like, I just don't think I have that thing where my brain goes, oh fuck, now I need one. Yeah. So I'm very, very lucky.
Yeah, same.
Because I have a lot of alcoholism and addiction in my family. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you this, my sugar consumption went up about 9,000% when I stopped drinking. But I've always had a sweet tooth as well. So I don't know, maybe that's part of it. But I've also gotten that back on track a little bit. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying, and neither Chad nor I have been like, okay, we are for sure never drinking again. But I think we're just kind of seeing how it feels to not for a while. And I've been toying with the idea of just flat out saying I'm not drinking for a year.
Interesting. Well, we're at 3 months. Yeah. And we're in the summer, which in my opinion is the hardest time. Yeah. To not drink, because you're like, we're out on the boat, we're cruising. It'd be nice to have, like, if you wanted a drink, that's the time you would want one. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of a cool social experiment for myself, just to see what things I do in a year that I would usually just automatically go, oh, I'm going to have some drinks for that, and see how it feels. And I'm curious to know if by the end of it, I would be like, well, then what occasion is there then that's left that I still would want to drink at? Because having gone to 2 concerts so far, not having alcohol at them, and having such a great time, and then also feeling great the next day, it was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Because I would have never thought to even try being sober at these things, because it was always like, oh, it's this fun social thing. And we're about to go to the Minnesota Yacht Club Festival this weekend. It's like the first annual. The first night's headliners are Gwen Stefani and Alanis Morissette, and then the second night headliners are the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I'm so fucking excited. And I'm gonna be sober for those 2, and it's just like adding another thing to the list of like, yep, I didn't drink during those, and I bet it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I hope so, because we're getting to see one person who was molested as a minor and another person who molests minors. It's going to be Such a kick-ass concert. I'm jazzed up. Last time we went to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Today.
I'm not even on one. I'm just, you know how I feel about that.
I know.
The last time we went to see Red Hot Chili Peppers, Flea came out. Mm-hmm. And you know how most rock stars are like, who wants to fucking party? And shit like who's ready for some rock and roll? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He came out and he goes, hey guys, you know we're 75% water, right? And I was like, who the fuck is this? He's such a talented musician. And everything I see him in, he seems so great. Even when he's supposed to be a dick in Point Break, he's kind of not.
I love Flea so much.
And so it was really interesting to see that. And I think what he was trying to tell people is to stay hydrated.
Yeah.
But it was just so funny because I expected this big thing. And then it was like, hey guys, if he had glasses, he'd have to push him up. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder.
Yeah, they're older now.
Oh,
I don't think they're doing the drugs. I mean, if they are doing drugs, they're all sober. They might be now, yeah. But, God, I'm so excited.
I mean, Anthony Kiedis has to be sober because his girlfriend can't go to bars.
Oh my God.
What?
You're so funny.
Well, I mean, it's pretty fucking gross.
I know. So, yeah, thank you for this email. We'll keep you posted on the alcohol stuff. Again, I hope that when you guys listen to the podcast and you are drinkers, that you don't feel like us not drinking right now is like coming off like we're vilifying it. We don't give a fuck. Do whatever you want to do.
Please know that I'm judging you pretty harshly.
But just for now, we're just kind of seeing how it feels. And it's been nice. So, Okay, next one. So this is titled, Yes, I Still Use AOL, because the person's email it's at AIM.com. Hello, Kelsey and Chad. I want to start my first email by saying I love the podcast and its format. I tend to wish the episodes were longer because they feel short to me. I listen at work and they go right by. Then I have to go listen to something else like Middle of Somewhere, which was my first podcast, because I enjoy comedians chatting. Comedians to me are like movie stars to Bert. Well, you might be a great person to sign up for Patreon because we got more episodes over there. Anyway, before I ramble on too much, I do have something I would like your advice on. For backstory, my wife and I have been married for almost 14 years and been together for about 18. She is 32 and I am 35. Some people won't like the math on that.
I just did it. Look at my face. Okay.
When we first started dating, we loved playing video games together. As we got older, although we both still enjoy video games, she started to gain an interest in going to bars. I'm not much of a drinker, which goes against my Irish stereotype, but I like to keep my mind as stable as possible. I've never done drugs, and I hate feeling tipsy. I used to just let her go out without me, but now I'm getting a bit of FOMO feeling from hearing old stories. I try and go out with her now, but my fun is a lot less active, and she thinks I'm miserable the whole time. I'm terrible at making plans, so I tend to tag along when I can instead of doing something on my own. Our other struggle is we have a 5-year-old at home that has become more my responsibility than hers because she likes to go out for karaoke. What are some things I should do to where I'm not feeling trapped while she is seemingly in a party phase? P.S. In the most recent episode I listened to, Chad was talking about not having internet as a kid. I graduated in 2007 and my family computer out of high school still ran on dial-up with a fancy caller ID so you could disconnect from the internet to answer the phone. It had a hard drive with less than half the storage of the average flash drive of the time. My main source of internet was occasionally going to the public library. Incredible. Yeah. Thank you.
Damn.
That's when I graduated high school.
Me too.
So. Uh-huh.
Whoa. Watch your mouth.
Watch
girl.
your mouth. Okay. What do you have to say about this?
Well, I have to say, there is a lot more to do at a bar than just drink. Mm-hmm. So if you guys are going out, I mean, I guess I'd need to know, what does your wife do? Does she sit around? Do they just mingle? I mean, mingle, right? Like a lot of times when celebrities are going to go on a late night talk show, mm-hmm. they have to give their stories in advance. So the host knows what to ask them. And that means it's research. You have to go back in your mind and you're like, all right, so I have a story for this and I put that in this file. This is the fun file. I have a story about
fun
being
file.
injured. I have a story about being sick. I have a story about this. So when it comes up, you can kind of get in there and do it. And I know that's not for everybody. I don't know if you're an introvert. I don't know your story at all. But there's darts, there's pool, there's a lot of stuff you can do there. And also, if she's rocking karaoke, I don't know, maybe you sing something to yourself and go, who does that sound like? Go find that band, learn a song, and then go knock her socks off and give that 5-year-old a little brother or sister. But no, I sometimes it's not fun being around drunk people when you're sober.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, it doesn't have to be not fun. I guess that's my whole point of this thing is you can go out and you can still have fun. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I wonder also if you have a friend that's more your speed with that stuff that you could ask if he or she want to join when you go out so that you don't feel like you're the only one who's kind of like sober and maybe not as, like active as you say in the email. But I also, when you're saying that you have a 5-year-old at home that's become more your responsibility than hers because she likes to go out for karaoke, I think that might be something to kind of like keep an eye on in terms of if there are hobbies that you would like to be doing that maybe you're not because you feel like you need to be the one to stay home. Maybe you have a conversation where you're saying like, hey, I don't want to start to feel resentful about this. Can you please stay home and maybe skip karaoke every now and then so that I can go do something? So that way it's just not getting like super out of balance. But
I love that idea. Yeah. And if you could find something that is like, you do during the day that's not drinking outdoors, like Frisbee golf or something like that, then you can have the best of both worlds where you get to go do that and then she can go do karaoke. But I still think I like the idea of having separate hobbies, but I really like the idea of popping in on each other's.
Yeah.
So she comes to Frisbee golf with you if you want to do that, and then you go to karaoke sometimes. So
yeah,
that's what I suggest. So it doesn't seem like it's two separate lives.
Yeah, totally. Okay. This one is a follow-up. It says follow-up insecurity question. They say, hi guys.
I'll take this one.
Okay. Wanted to first thank you for the incredible conversation you had after I sent my first email. My now girlfriend and I watched it together and had an awesome conversation about it. And Chad, no, I was not a fucker on my last work trip. Ha 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 ha. So he's the one who wrote in. He has a girlfriend. He had like a work conference and she saw a text that his colleague, and she was like worried that there was maybe any flirtation. So, by the way, I like just this first sentence. This makes me so happy that our podcast,
our silly
little podcast is creating like actual helpful, meaningful conversations in your guys' relationships sometimes.
And we said, if we find out we help one person, we'll be done. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
It was a blast.
Yep.
Want to say the name of the person so they can get a hold of them?
Anyway, I really love that. So thank you for sharing. Unfortunately, I've been challenging some of my thoughts and feelings recently, and I'd really love to hear your perspectives. My girlfriend, 30, and I, 25, have been seeing each other for just under a year, and it has been super fun. We like going on trips, the sex is the best I've ever had, and we share views on some pretty critical issues. We both have different life situations at the moment. And recently she has been in a huge funk, feeling unfulfilled in her life and lonely, and having some insecurities regarding my feelings toward her crop up. I've noticed that her default process is that I don't actually like her, and it comes up every day. Roughly 85% of our conversations have been revolving around her dwelling on negativity and spiraling. We've communicated openly about it, and I have been as supportive as I can at every step. I have not once put her down, and I regularly encourage her and point out all the ways she's taken strides, even just since I've known her. I've made a huge effort to be consistent. On top of this, however, I just got a promotion and I've taken on a lot of responsibility, which has involved an absolute metric fuckload of issues that I get to deal with, so I'm very stressed. Fun. I've been struggling to feel like I'm still having fun in the relationship, I think he means. We don't laugh as much as we used to, and I have been considering more of the long-term implications of being with her. I have a really open mind with where I end up in the next year or two, and she's about to start school, so we'll be here in the social work field for at least a few more years. She struggles with life decisions and isn't sure she will be able to handle college. All of this to say, I'm starting to wonder if I should be in this relationship anymore. I am in no way asking, should I break up with my girlfriend, but I am definitely looking to hear about any past experiences either of you have had with, despite having a good time, deciding that maybe you're not in a good spot. I'm conscious of an old pattern of mine, pre-therapy, of choosing problematic, toxic partners, so this is a little new for me to consider my feelings objectively and think with the head on the top of my body. Thanks in advance. I love both of you a lot. When I got into comedy during a bit of a depression, both of your comedy works were instrumental in lifting me right out of that. I hope to hear what you think. And then P.S. traveling to the Twin Cities for work in a few weeks. What spot should I hit up for yummy food and tasty beer? You can use my name. Also, go Bills. And this is from Dawson. Well, thank you, Dawson.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for this follow-up.
Is it Dawson? Maybe it's Dawson Knox.
Who's
no,
that?
It can't be. He's the tight end for the Bills.
Oh, that'd be wild. Well, yeah, I'm sorry that you're in this place, but I don't know. I feel like you're saying you're just under a year in being together, and I think this is a really common time. There's like some statistic out there where it's like the highest percentage of times that breakups happen, and I think it's like 1 year in, 7 years in, and then
I'm not sure. I just know
don't remember
they call it the 7-year itch.
7 year itch, yeah, and then some time after that. But I think this is like a fairly common thing to be feeling, where maybe the honeymoon feeling has worn off a little bit. The very beginning, there are actual chemicals being released in your brain that are not going to be sustained at that same level. And so I think sometimes people can like panic if they don't feel that same heightened like oxytocin. What's the other one? It's oxytocin. Dopamine, maybe. Yeah. And I think, you just have to know that like, this isn't a black and white thing. You're never going to probably get to a place in the relationship where everything is bad or everything is perfect. But I think you're going to have to kind of weigh out, like, is there enough good here to continue to see where this goes? Or is the hardships and the bad things and incompatibilities starting to outweigh the good? So that's kind of...
Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Is the juice worth the squeeze?
One of those things. And we don't know your races, so maybe it is a black and white thing. However, you know what she meant, Chad. Wait, what? Am I talking to myself? I feel you. Dawson, I know exactly what you're going through, because I often... Kelsey has a lot of insecurities, and I often have to tell her that I like her a whole. So I have had to deal with some insecurities and mine. And so, there's times where it's like, she'll tell me something and I straight up don't believe her. And it's not because she's a liar, and it's not because she said it in a way that was dismissive or anything like that. It's just my brain just won't let me believe it. That's just how it works. And that is fucking annoying, because I'm the one doing it, and I know it's annoying. So hopefully, but I'm also older than 30, right? Like your girlfriend. So maybe she's not noticing how annoying it is. I don't know. Maybe, does she do it in front of people? Could you have one of her friends bring it up? I'm just spitballing here. Could you guys drink bleach? That's from COVID. Remember?
Oh yeah.
So anyways, but I just think that, I can't imagine how exhausting that is. Mm-hmm. I will tell you, it can be like taken care of, I guess. I mean, I still have my shit. There's no doubt about it. Got up at 2 a.m. and ran for a half hour. But Um, you can make it so it's less, and you can start to believe the other person. So there is light at the end of the tunnel, but does she go to therapy? Is she working on that kind of stuff? That is a humongous question, I think. And then to go with all the stuff like, I don't know if school's going to be for me. And it just seems like she is down on herself right now. And it's not your responsibility to pick her up. I think you just, I know we say this a ton on here, but therapy is just so huge and helpful for
so
situations
important.
like this, because she can find out about herself, why she's feeling this way, why she thinks she's not going to be good at school, why she thinks you don't like her, all this stuff. And she is going to have to find, because you're going to snap. You're going to go to work one day and you're going to be like, I got all this shit going on and I got to tell her she's fucking pretty and I got to do this. And you're going to end up stealing somebody's sandwich from the fridge and you're going to get punched in the face. So just all a heads up. I'm assuming you're not going to watch this episode with her, but I would say, maybe even if she's not into individual therapy, maybe a couples counselor, something like that. That's just that. I know that's our go-to on this show, but it's only because it's worked for both of us.
Yeah. And I know that the whole love language thing can be a little eye roll inducing, but I do think sometimes insecurities in people can come from not receiving love from their partner the way that makes the most sense to them. And so sometimes there can just be a disconnect there. That might not be at all what's happening here. It might just truly be that she has insecurities that are, lifelong. But yeah, it's kind of like, I guess the juice being worth the squeeze sort of analogy that you used. It's like, is it worth sticking around and seeing if this can improve? Because there will be issues in every partner and every relationship. And I think you just have to kind of figure out like what are the things that you can work with together. So, yeah.
Best of luck though, because like I said, I'm the insecure one for the most part in this relationship. And it is, kind of a nonstop battle, and sometimes it can be not fun, but, like I said, it is doable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Just kidding. Get it? Being insecure. Okay.
Yes.
Well, sometimes 5 minutes later you go, oh, I didn't.
I know. Thank you for really committing to that one. Okay. This one says, it's titled Intestinal Mysteries and Life Slapping You with the Poop Stick. They say, hello, Chad and Kelsey. Love the interplay between you two. I had a similar but reverse issue from your experience. I had some dairy, which I usually avoid, and had a similar reaction. The difference was less air and more mass.
Diarrhea.
After what seemed like a nonstop deployment of my internal organs, I was sure I had set some new record. I took a peek and found your missing rabbit turd. My only conclusion is something grabbed it from the other end. I'm going to throw an M80 in the septic tank and hope for the best. The real problem is I think I may be experiencing some dementia. I'm in IT and pretty much have my job down cold, or enough is left to fool my colleagues. Many things that I would know instantly, I find myself Googling to get me started. The latest clue was when I looked at my granddaughters and it took me 3 minutes. I looked at my granddaughter and it took me 3 minutes to remember her name. I have told no one. The reason I'm telling you guys is I need a sounding board and release before I blow. I have a doctor's appointment in a couple weeks and I don't know whether to tell my wife before I have some answers. We're in a pretty good place right now and I don't want any new stress. My health has put her through some shit in the past and I can't bear to drag her down that road again. I just want to hear an independent opinion from outside the family. Kelsey has firsthand experience and I would like to hear your views. Thanks. And I'm not supposed to say who this is. Okay. First of all, I'm so sorry that you're going through that. Yeah. And thank you so much for wanting us to be your soundboard. I'm really glad that you have a doctor's appointment, because if you hadn't made one, that would be my first step to you, is like just be as proactive as you can and start to try to get as many answers as you can. Obviously, watching my mom go through dementia, it's the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. And I think that has also then started to really freak me out when I have my own moments of not being able to remember something right away or feeling a little blank on stage at times. And it's hard to know, like, what is a normal, reasonable, like, human, you know, just like not being able to come up with something quickly. And is this something that I am destined to have as well? And I know that there's some genetic testing I could do to know if I have the particular gene for it that my mom has. And I've been avoiding doing that because it's just feels like there's no good time to find out that information if it's not the information I want. But yeah, I would explain to the doctor what you're feeling and just do an MRI or a CT scan and have them do the test with you. I need to remember what it's called because we talked about it on a recent episode too, and I couldn't think of it, but it's like a cognitive test that can test it. So yeah, just thinking about you, and so sorry you're in this position. Feel free to update us if you would like, but just know that it's gonna be okay, and just like take one step at a time. There's a great image that you've sent me before when I've felt really kind of hopeless about certain things, and it's like the boy with the horse, and the horse can't see in front of him, and he says, just, can you see right in front of you? And then yes, and take one step at a time, sort of a thing. And that always helps me to just...
Yeah, he says, I can't see my way out of the forest. And he said, can you see the step right in front of you? And he says, yes. And he goes, well, then take that one.
Yeah. So just take the next step. And
also, I'd like to know, are you on any meds? Also, is IT work really monotonous?
Yeah, there could be so many things. I hope you don't try your best not to catastrophize, because this could be so many other things.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of shit it could be.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing the same stuff over and over and just like do with IT work, then, which by the way, have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in? But I just think could be so many things, because to me that work is important, and I don't know how to do it. Let me be clear, but I'm saying like, it just seems like it's maybe a lot of repetition. And so sometimes your brain can just go like, oh, I can punch out of this. Or one time I was taking Ambien, driving my kids to the park. I didn't know where I was. I was driving, didn't know where I was, didn't know who my kids were, didn't know who I was, any of that shit. So I had to pull over. It took me a full 5 minutes to like turn around. I was staring at my kids, and they were kind of looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing?
That's so anytime you've told me that story, it could
haunting. Be, it could be meds if you're on those. It could be, are you tired? Are you sleeping okay? I mean, so I'm only saying all this for what she said. It's like, please don't, think this is the one answer is dementia. It could be a lot of other things. And please do, when you figure out what's going on, right back in.
Yeah, we'd love to know. Okay, guys. Write in pretendproblemspodcast@gmail.com. Go join Patreon. Listen to the bonus episodes. Come see us on tour. Go watch Chad's Netflix special. Oh my God. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.